to a wonderful country. I am a psychiatrist, I'm not an economist, in case you are misled by the title. And my job is to take you through the UK, getting comfort for young people, and see whether we can transfer that model to a country like Egypt. So I'll try and do it in the next about 35 minutes, 40 minutes. But we know from having children from all past that adolescence is quite a crucial period of development. And there's a whole new field of biology on developmental psychology and neuroscience. And it's a time when you are partially an adult, your child, and you kind of swing between the two. One of the things that is a paradox is that when we are most physically healthy, we are our most psychologically vulnerable. So young people who are winning Wimbledon championships are their most vulnerable stage psychologically. So this is the study that shows. The green bar, the light green bar, is years lived with disability. The number of years you've lost because of ill health, you've been disabled. You will realize that the green bar is at the highest length, height during the adolescence and early years. The next green bar is diabetes and endocrine disorders. So the maximum years lost to disability are due to mental health problems in young people. So I'll give you one experiment to illustrate that. Let's say in America, everyone with schizophrenia could get back to full-time work. Okay? So everyone who had schizophrenia in America was working full-time. The taxes that they pay on their salary would pay for treating all cancers in America. Schizophrenia is a very, very expensive condition for society. Mental disorders generally are, because they are quickly young and they rob them of their most productive. And this is again now a very commonly presented slide. When I was training in India in psychiatry, we were told that the disorders of childhood onset, conduct disorders, ADHD, and there are disorders of adult onset like schizophrenia and bipolar disorders. Now that's been turned on its head. Most adult disorders, other than dementia, begin in adolescence. 75% begin before the age of 25, 50% begin before the age of 16. And there's again very good biological basis of why that should happen, which time to take you through today. And we also used to believe, when I was training, that brain develops stopped at 18. Now that's not true. Brain continues to mature till the age of 45. And if you look at the different parts of the brain, as they mature, the emotional, impulsive, sensation-seeking part of the brain is running ahead of the restraining part of our rational brain. So when your teenagers are taking risks, or they are using drugs, or they are being promiscuous, that's because the restraining part of their abilities, cognitive abilities, have not yet developed. Are you following me? I can hear it filtering out at times. Are you with me so far? So let's start with the riddle. What is the similarity between treatment of schizophrenia and the fall of the patient part? Does anyone want to have a look? Both involve in orderly management of decline. Britain has been in kind of decline since Second World War. It's lost empire. It's not from the roots. And when schizophrenia, you felt that these people were more or less doomed. There was no coming back from it. It was a chronic, endlessly deteriorating condition. And all a good psychiatrist could do was manage this client. Now that's completely not true, and I'm going to show you some evidence for that. In the 90s, I was involved in a series of studies in Nottingham on epidemiology of first onset psychosis. Nottingham was one of 10 centres of the WHO studies called DOSNet, Determinants of Outcomes of Clinical Disorders. Many of what we now know in psychiatry come from those studies. I think Egypt was also one of the centres, if I'm not mistaken. So when you hear that patients with schizophrenia prevalence lifetime is 1%, that's about that time. Or acute attention psychosis are more common in the developing world, that's about that time. The DOSNet was instrumental in setting our understanding of the epidemiology of schizophrenia. Nottingham was one of those DOSNet centres. Nottingham was also the first city in the UK to close all its psychiatric hospitals and move to community care. Now, DOSNet took place in 1978, our study took place in 1994. And we had used the same methodology of case finding and follow-up. So we had a very interesting natural experiment. Did the closure of hospitals and the move to community improve the outcomes of first episode psychosis or not? Yeah? So, let me ask you, do you think in UK, closing psychiatric hospitals and moving patients to the community was good for them? Does anyone want to? Yeah? You think their outcomes improved? Anyone think their outcomes didn't improve? You think they didn't improve? Anyone think they got worse? So there is one. Okay. I'll assume the whole is equally divided. It's a trick question because you have to ask me what do I mean by outcome. So when you look at clinical outcomes, there was no difference. At 2 to 3 years follow-up, the number of patients in remission in 1978 was 45%, and the number of patients in remission in 1996 was 44%. No difference. When it came to patients' work, in DOSNet, 25% of patients with first episode psychosis were in hospital at 2 years. In our study, only 4%. So when it comes to keeping patients with first psychosis well in the community psychiatry was wonderfully effective. When it came to functioning disability, to our surprise, patients who were in the community care seemed to be scoring even higher on disability than who were in hospital 25 years ago. This was not what we expected to find, and again, it was a very controversial finding. And again, I don't know if you have time and question, you can ask me why that is. So what we could see from those series of studies was that all that effort of moving patients from the hospital to the community, for first episode psychosis, it had helped in keeping patients out of hospital, but it had not made them better, either clinically or in terms of function. Around that time, there was a movement building up. So there's a guy called Max Berkeley in the UK, someone called in Australia, and a few in Canada, and I started first early intervention service in London in 2000. So the argument that we were making at that time was that we know that we've known that from a number of systematic reviews, that the longer the duration of untreated psychosis, the lesser is the chance of recovery. So there's a correlation between how long you've been ill with psychotic symptoms and what are the chances of you getting well. We also know from a number of studies, including our Nottingham studies, that you can predict long-term outcomes of first episode psychosis from short-term outcomes. In our study, people who are doing well 2 years after the onset of psychosis are doing well 12 years after the onset. People who are doing badly 2 years are doing badly at 12 years. Are you with me? So there seems to be a ceiling which occurs early in first episode psychosis. Very importantly, disability of psychosis comes first. Symptoms come later. Again, when I was training, I used to think, we used to be told people become psychotic, then they become disabled because of their illness. People use their networks first. They become withdrawn. They drop out of school. They become isolated. Disability predates symptoms. In fact, by the time symptoms have appeared, quite a lot of disability has accumulated. Again, there is a very interesting paper by Richard Wyatt arguing that untreated psychosis may be neurobiologically toxic. I believe that is true, but not everyone does. And of course, the longer people are without treatment, the more distressing it is. So we said, we asked them for delaying intervention. We wanted to set up specialist services for first episode psychosis. And I set up the first service. At that time, we had to define what do we mean by early intervention. There are three meanings of the term early intervention. So when you read a paper on early intervention, please make sure you check what that paper means by early intervention. So the three meanings are, one is intervening before the person has become intervening in the program. The second is going out in the community to look for people who are psychotic but not receiving care. That is early detection. And the third is providing best possible care as early as possible for those who are already psychotic. Now these are three different meanings of early intervention. The evidence base for them is very different. The evidence that we have that early intervention is effective is for the third meaning of early intervention. The evidence is weakest for prodromal interventions, and it's a bit mixed with tubercle for early detection. So when people say early intervention works or doesn't work, you have to ask them, what do you mean by early intervention? So I'm going to tell you about early intervention. People who have come to service, they've got a first episode psychosis, and you are giving them the best possible care that you can with a specialist team. One of the things we had been doing at that time was we were saying, is it possible to understand how psychosis unfolds? And there is a scale called Nottingham Onset Schedule. It's a scale for measuring the onset of psychosis and the unfolding of symptoms and pathology. And you can use it to measure DUT quite precisely. It's a scale used by someone whose work I really admire, which is me. I think this is gone through for many years ago. At that time, our idea was slightly different. But it's now quite a standardized tool for measuring DUT, at least in England. It's also being used in Turkey and a few other countries. And those of you who are interested, please approach me and I'll send you the scale to you. So we set up this model and we went to the British government, Department of Health. We said this is the various kinds of early intervention, early detection, prodrome, and community treatment program. And we want to start with the community treatment program. So again, I'm going to tell you what the evidence is for specialist community treatment program using an early intervention service. We costed the service, and in UK, when we were setting up in 2000, a service for 1 million population in UK cost £1.5 million to set up and about £800,000 a year to run. That service would comprise of 4 multidisciplinary teams, geographically based, depending on the spread of the population. Now, there have been a number of trials of that model, especially early intervention service versus standard community care. The trials have taken place in UK, Holland, Australia, Denmark had the biggest trial, and a number of observational studies, so these are the randomized controlled trials. Every trial has shown that young people who come to a specialist early intervention service have better outcomes, positive symptoms, negative symptoms, functioning, and reduced hospitalization than standardized care. Every single study has shown that. More importantly, every young person in the UK who comes to an early intervention service as opposed to standard care saves the NHS £4,500 a year after paying for the new service. So this has been, and one of our biggest successes is we get young people with psychosis back to education, come back to work. So our latest figures are we get about 2/3 of them back to work, which is remarkably high as compared to what used to happen many years ago. This mission led by Robin Murray called the Schizophrenia Commission, which reported its findings in 2012, and this is what they say. Early intervention is crucial to improving outcomes. The Commission's view is that early intervention in psychosis has been the most positive development in mental health services since the beginning of community care. And I had not gone into early intervention absolutely sure that it would make a difference. And I have been converted to the cause. We have also been trying early detection. So in Birmingham, we've been doing quite a lot of work on a community detection program with radio slots and posters. If you were in Birmingham, you would see these posters everywhere. And we have shown that you can reduce the duration of untreated psychosis. So when we started early intervention in the late 90s and early 2000, the duration of untreated psychosis average in UK was 2 years. Today it is 3 months. Within 3 months of developing psychosis, more than half the kids are coming to first episode psychosis service. So early intervention works. When you mean by early intervention, providing specialist care using a multidisciplinary team, and it's better than community care. I want to show you one more thing we've done, and then I'll try and come back to the main theme, which is health of the nation. In the UK, you have this child adult divide. I understand you also have specialized child psychiatry services here, and the dividing line is 18. But it varies from 16 to 21. When I was setting up early intervention services in London, we knew that the government was going to fund these services, so we had got psychiatrists, psychologists, and social workers together to decide what early intervention would look like. And I thought that psychiatrists and psychologists will disagree on how to diagnose psychosis and how to treat it. To my surprise, the biggest arguments were between child psychiatrists and adult psychiatrists. They could not agree on anything. They agree on what psychosis was, how to diagnose it, how to treat it, and think about what happens to young people who come to the boundary of their child psychiatric service and then have to move to adult care. I don't know the system in detail. I presume you don't have a national coverage of the kind that we have in the NHS, so you probably don't have this problem. But we have a massive problem. 50% of young people who are receiving care from their CAMS, Child and Adolescent Mental Health Services, drop through the care network when they reach the CAMS boundary. Other 50% who make the transition receive very poor care. Now this has been a very important study to take, and that has led to a lot of changes. Our study at that time was, this is 2010, that service users who are at CAMS, when they come to transition, their care is poorly planned, poorly executed, and poorly experienced. Now, we then put the early intervention model of philosophy with the transition problem, and we started saying, Why not use the principle of early intervention in all disorders of young people? Why wait? Why not do early intervention in all disorders? And now, and we have a special supplement in the Journal of Psychiatry where we put all the evidence together. This is now old, 2013. But as a result of this, in Birmingham, where I work, we now have a 0 to 25 service. The service doesn't stop at 18. It goes from 0 to 25, and from 18 onward, child and adult psychiatrists work together. This transition was a big issue all over Europe, and you are, I think, the second audience to see this result. We then replicated, we tried to replicate the study in Europe, and we thought we would try and do a trial, and I'm going to give the results very quickly, and then I'll move on. So it's a big study. It cost 6 million euros over 5 years. And we have data on 1,000 people who come from their transition plan in 8 countries. We've got data on 900 carers and an equal number of clinicians. And it's a longitudinal study, extended up for 4 months. So the first thing is the service provision. Across the 28 countries that form the EU, the difference in bed availability for camps is a 26-fold difference. The best provider in the world provided country, 26-fold difference in the number of beds per 100,000 population. Oh, sorry, the number of beds is 49-fold. Number of camp services, 26-fold. Now, you cannot explain this by epidemiological differences. One country does not have 49 times the scale of the problem as another. This is simply a question of how services are funded and where people put their resources. Do they put it in adult care or child care? When it comes to following up those 1,000 children in those 8 European countries, again the 50%, the second column, 50% experience discontinuity of care at the end of their cancer. And here, the top green line is children with highest rates of emotional and behavioral problems, and you will see that they are the most likely to have discontinuous care. So actually, those who have psychosis do make it across from camps to adult care. It's kids with emotional problems, ADHD, behavioral problems, who fall to the care gap. Again, this may not be relevant to you, but as you develop a system that provides seamless care, this will happen. And finally, our trial, which was a cluster randomized trial for a particular form of intervention, it seems to work, although the magnitude of effect, which is the drop in Rostas score, is not very huge. The model of managed transition seems to work in keeping people well over time. So transition has been a very big issue in the UK and Europe because of the study. This is a recent BBC article. There was a meeting in European Parliament 2 years ago. I was invited to give evidence, and these are parliamentarians and people from the European Great Council. Transition has become a very big issue, and along with transition, youth mental health, which is the final part of what I'm going to tell you. And this was in the UK, we have something called NICE, National Institute of Clinical Excellence, which looks at all the evidence. And there was a nice guideline on development on transition from child to adult care. And I shared the guideline. That's a summary of our recommendation. It's very simple, straightforward things you can do to make the care transfer from child to adult care better experience for your young people. Okay, so what about, very easy to say in well-resourced countries like Denmark or UK, we should develop early intervention services for young people and spend all this money. What about countries that don't have so much resource? The bulk of young people don't live in the West. India has a population of 1.2 billion. 45% of the population of India is less than 20 years old. So the bulk of youth live in the Middle East. They live in Nigeria, they live in India, and Pakistan, and Bangladesh. They don't live in Holland and in Denmark. This is a photograph from 2004. In India, in South India, there is a place called Erewadi. It is the Dargah. You probably know what Dargah is. The Dargah is the tombstone of an 8th century who is credited to bring Islam to India. So it's 8th century, he was buried there. In the last 1200 years, a whole complex has built around there, where people come with their mentally ill relatives for treatment and cure. And the treatment is only ceremony. In August 2004, one of the buildings caught fire. There were 2 guards who fled. 26 patients, we call them patients, 26 people who were there, they died because they were chained to their beds. So you can see their charred bodies, and they are chained to the bedposts. And that was an absolute uproar in India. For the first Indian government development in the country, after the British had left, after 200 years of this, when the British had set up a mental attack, Indian government was forced to develop a mental attack in 2004. So India, with its booming economy, it's helped the state of affairs for mental. So you can't really develop specialist early intervention services. There are 7,000 psychiatrists in India for 1.23 billion population. All of them are in big cities. So there are huge parts of the country where there is no psychiatrist, and there is no possibility of having a psychiatrist. We've just finished the first ever study of mental health care in Somaliland. Somaliland has 2 psychiatrists. This is their best psychiatry unit. We've done some work in Malawi. Malawi has 1 psychiatrist. He's a professor of psychiatry, he's the chief of psychiatry, he's the minister of psychiatry, and he's also a doctor. So you can't really expect countries with those level of resources to develop specialist early intervention services. So this is what, and yet, the problem remains the same. This is a systematic review and meta-analysis. You know, I told you that longer the duration of untreated psychosis, poorer the outcome. This is true of the West, but it's also true of lower income countries. So the same problem of untreated psychosis and its relation to poor outcome occurs in lower income countries. And these are recent photographs from various parts of the world where people are chained because they have mental illness. In Somaliland, 110 households have someone in chains because they have either a mental illness or learning disability with aggression or epilepsy. 1 in 10. So this is what we've been doing. We have a very big, from the Department of Health in the UK, where we've said we will try and take the principles of early intervention to a country like India. Okay, we've got it called WIC, because we've got team HIV, we've got an India team, and we've got a Canadian team. So it's a WIC project. It's a long £2 million project. I'm just going to give you some preliminary findings for you to think about whether there are applications of this kind of work in Egypt. Yeah. Okay. First thing we've done is we created a first episode. This says a person who has a first episode psychosis, within your existing resources, this is the kind of care we should do. And we have made sure that we don't say you've got a specialist CBT worker, a specialist diagnosis worker, a specialist education worker. We are saying, no, you can't have all that. But these are the principles that we get. And that first episode protocol seems to be working very well in India. And I'm very happy, if anyone of you is interested, I'm very happy to tell you. What we are finding, follow-up, is that people, no matter how long they're DEP, seem to respond very quickly. So our 3-month follow-up data shows symptomatic recovery, 100% recovery at 3 months for most of the patients, which is maintained in 12 months. So there is and this should be surprising, because first of all, psychosis is exquisitely sensitive to antipsychotics. People get better very quickly. Now, one of the things that happens in countries like India is that people come from very far away, and the family is with them. They come, they have brief episode of treatment, they get better, they go away, and they can't maintain treatment. If they come back for treatment again and again from long distances, they better. Even if the treatment is free, the family accumulates debt because of getting care, getting the person with a term called catastrophic debt. Debt is if the family debt exceeds 40% of the income, the family will never recover from that debt. They will always be paying the interest of this debt. Catastrophic debt for mentally ill relatives is the second largest cause of suicide in India. It's a huge problem. So, we have shown that people can get better if you just use a protocolized manual for intervention. We've then developed an app. Suction is a Hindi word, it means effort. And the app is very straightforward. It comes on Android. Telephones are very, very cheap in India as it is. So 300 million Indians have telephones, although they don't have toilets. Everyone has a telephone. So the app has 2 versions, one for patient, one for relative, and we are doing the feasibility trial. So this is that once you initiate treatment, you've gone back miles away, you can maintain treatment through this app. Again, I don't have time to tell you through it. It seems to be working. The third thing we are doing in this program is saying, okay, let's try and see some early detection. So in one part of South India, we are screening 16 to 20-year-olds for depression, anxiety, and psychotic symptoms. This is data on about 9,000 young people. The study is ongoing. A staggeringly high proportion of young people in this cohort have severe depression and anxiety, and 7% have psychotic symptoms. So we have a huge unmet need in the population. And we also, as part of the study, we did mental health literacy training. We taught teachers in those schools and colleges what mental illness is like. We gave them a pathway. We said that to the students, we said, if you are concerned about your mental health, come this way. Of those 9,000 children and young people, 12% are scoring very high on these 3 instruments. And yet the number who have got help is 2 that we know. Okay, so where are the others going? So just screening is not enough. What we have to change is people's help seeking. And so I'm going to the final part of my talk, which is this very new project we are starting in India and in Nigeria. So the bottom 2 pictures, the left one is a shrine of someone called Nizamuddin Chishti. He was a 13th century Sufi mystic in Delhi. When he was buried, around his burial site, there is a huge slide of Shia Muslims who find comfort in that place. That shrine gets 20,000 people a day. In festivals, 40,000. Every day, between 30 and 35 people come who have serious mental illness. And you have seen on the right-hand side is one of the clinics that offers treatment. Treatment by dua, taweez, strong problems, business, black magic, and they provide a kind of mixture of religious and faith healing. The same thing happens in Nigeria. So Ibadan, on the top you can see in Ibadan, there is Islam that we are working with. where we have very similar problems, although there the faith healing is eclectic. There is some traditional faith healing, there is some Aruba faith healing, there are different ethnic groups, there is some Islamic faith healing. So what we are doing in these two sites, we are going to start with in July. We just got a £4 million grant from UK government. We are going to go to those slums and we are going to train the imams and the faith leaders in recognizing serious mental illness. Previously what people have done, when they try to do the work, they said, this is abusing, this is coercive, this is human rights abuse. Now those imams will not engage with you if you constantly say to them what they're doing is wrong. Maybe what they're doing is wrong, but by telling them that, you can't engage them. And they see you as competitors for their business. They are poor people who are trying to make a living out of this. So we are going to work with them. And we've done this in Birmingham before. We're going to work with faith leaders and tell them how to recognize serious mental illness. And we will create a pathway to get them to services. So for instance, in Zambia, we have a partnership with Polymer Institute of Medical Sciences, which is like here, the paid medical schools department of psychiatry, and we are going to train people into care through imams, through faith people. 4 years from now, I can't tell you what it works for. And finally, what we've been doing is we've been using the principles of telepsychiatry. This is a project in South India, where a bus has been converted. On the back of the bus is a screen where movies shown on chronic schizophrenia, acute schizophrenia, severe depression, and mania. And it goes to remote parts of the country and says in the village square, they show the movie and they say, have you got someone with these problems, we'll come back next week. In the bus, the rear part is a dispensary, and the front part is a consultation tool, and on top is an internet disk with connection to a clinic in Bangalore, in Chennai. So people bring their family members, a community health worker conducts the interview, discusses the case with a psychiatrist sitting 200 miles away, and drugs are given over there. It's been very successful. Because in countries like India, you just can't wait for either the infrastructure to develop or there to be enough staff. So this is another model. So I'm giving you ways in which I think we can reach people who are not receiving care. I think I'm going to, and finally, World Psychiatry, I started an initiative which I lead, which is of trying to put all this together to come up with a consensus guideline. We just started the process. About this time next year, we will have quite WTA approved. I'm going to stop here and tell you where the title comes from. Wealth of the Nation is the famous book by Adam Smith, the economist. And I've been sort of giving this talk saying that if we are really concerned about the wealth of our nation, we should think about the mental health of our nation. They are our biggest asset, and they are our biggest resource, and they are our biggest sources of wealth. While I end with this, I want you to tell me who said this. The children love luxury. They have bad manners, they have contempt for authority, they show disrespect to elders, they love chatter-based exercise, they contradict their parents, they chatter before company, they criticize their teachers. Who do you think said this? Sorry? Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. It's 2,000 years old. It's Socrates. And the reason why I say that, Socrates, is that concern about children is adolescence, is a human condition. We are always concerned about young people. But I hope I've tried to convey to you that young people are. Many of them are at risk of ill health. Many of them need care, and current service structures are not working, at least in the West. Post-episode psychosis, specialist care, or principle of that specialist care do make a difference. And I think any of you who are interested in developing something like that in Egypt, we'd be delighted to work. Thank you very much.
Thank you for this illustrated lecture, and I think we have a lot of experience in the field, and they also the backbone of the nation, which give them a good chance better than us. The point which is important is the early detection and the intervention. It's quite important. But after that, when there will be relapses or recurrences and the process terminates, what can we do?
Okay, that's a very interesting question. We are grappling with that. What we have shown is, as long as people are under the care of early intervention services, keep doing it. In UK, early intervention services keep you under their care for 3 weeks. In Canada, they keep you under their care for 2 weeks. In both cases, what we have found is, once you discharge them from early intervention to standard care, the gains that they make in early intervention, they diminish. They are not entirely lost, but they are diminished. So there's a big problem. So, we don't have the exact answer, but there has been one trial in Canada of 2 years versus 5 years early intervention. And it seems that the longer you keep people under an early intervention type of care, the better they will do. So you would say, why not keep strict? And so this is the next unanswered question. And how long, I don't know, so all I can tell you is, the evidence so far is the longer you keep them under specialist care, the more likely they are to stay there. But I don't know how long.
Second point about before early detection is the primary prevention. And we have a lot of drug abuse, the problems in the structure of families, which are giving opportunity to evolve the problem. So I think we are in need to bring them better before.
Sure. May I address that? Yeah. It sounds good that we should have primary prevention and psychiatry. Our problem is, our disorders are very complex. It's not like putting fluoride in water, or having 5 pieces of fruit or vegetable a day, or doing 50 minutes of exercise a week. We don't have very clear preventive strategies. We have some. You mentioned one. Drug abuse. Surely that's a good thing. There is some evidence in anti-bullying measures in schools are helpful. Stephen Scott showed this morning about parenting programs. So for some disorders like depression, anxiety, conduct disorders, we may be able to do primary prevention. For psychosis, the evidence is much less clear. And it is very difficult to test. It's a relatively rare phenomenon. In UK, the incidence is 30 to 100,000 population. So for 100,000 people, 30 new cases of first-degree psychosis. To do a randomized trial of a primary prevention strategy to show an effect size, you need millions of people to be part of it. So although I would love to stand here and say, we can prevent psychosis, I think the evidence is not that strong as yet. We know that people who have emerging symptoms of psychosis, they do well if you treat. But that's not primary prevention, that's targeted prevention. So we don't have universal prevention strategies yet. Maybe we will have one in the future. Right now, I'm wary of making very positive about at least in psychosis.
Thank you very much for this lecture, and you are welcome.
Thank you very much.